I'm 82 years old now, and I've seen a lot, lived through more than most. But if there's one decision I wish I could go back and change, it's moving into a nursing home. At the time, it felt like the logical choice. My family was supportive. They said it would be safer, more comfortable, and that I'd have help with anything I needed. I didn't argue. I figured maybe this was just the next chapter of life. But once I got inside, I realized that nothing about it felt like living. It felt more like being managed, controlled, forgotten. Now, I know some of you might be thinking about this option for yourself or someone you love. Maybe a parent, a grandparent, or even your own future. And I'm not saying nursing homes are evil or that nobody ever needs them. But I am saying, don't go in blind. There are 6 things I wish someone had told me before I packed up my life and moved in. 6 things I didn't fully understand until it was too late. And if I can help even one person think twice or make a more informed decision, then sharing this will be worth it. Let's get into the first regret, giving up control over my daily life. Before I moved in, I could choose when I wanted to eat, when to sleep, when to watch TV, or sit in silence. If I wanted toast for dinner or wanted to take a nap at noon, that was up to me. But once you're in a nursing home, you live by someone else's clock. Breakfast at 7:30 sharp, lunch at noon, dinner at 5, whether you're hungry or not. If you want to sleep in, too bad. If you want to stay up late reading, well, lights out is at 9 p.m., and if you can't sleep, you're stuck staring at the ceiling. Even going outside isn't as simple as it used to be. You can't just take a walk when the weather's nice. You have to wait for a staff member to be available, and sometimes they're short-staffed or busy or just forget. What used to be a simple decision becomes a process. Want to change clothes? Eat something off schedule? Play music? You start needing permission for things that once made up your everyday life. And little by little, you stop asking. You start adapting. But with every adjustment, a piece of your independence slips away. And here's the thing, they don't take your independence all at once. It happens gradually. The system is set up to be efficient, not personal. So they group tasks, assign aides, and run things like a business. It's not always malicious. It's just not human. And when your day is run on a schedule you didn't create, it starts to wear you down. You become a number, a routine, a resident, not a person who used to have preferences and quirks and rhythm. So before you even consider this move, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the little freedoms that make life feel like it's yours? Regret number 2, underestimating the emotional distance from family and friends. When I first moved in, I was told, we'll visit all the time. And they did at first. My daughter came by weekly, my grandkids popped in on Sundays. We played cards, shared stories. It felt manageable. But after a few months, the visits slowed. Life got in the way. Work, school, weather, traffic, vacations, it all added up. And I understood, I really did. But understanding doesn't make the loneliness easier. I started noticing how long the days felt, how quiet the evenings were. I'd sit by the window, phone in my lap, wondering if I should call. Sometimes I did. Other times, I didn't want to feel like a burden. I didn't want to make them feel guilty. So I'd put the phone down and turn on the TV, hoping the noise would fill the silence. It's not that they didn't love me. It's just that, when you're not in someone's daily life, it's easy to fade into the background. Out of sight really does become out of mind. They assume you're being cared for, that your needs are being met. But emotional needs aren't on the checklist. Nobody asks how it feels to go days without a hug. Nobody charts the ache that comes from missing family dinners or silly inside jokes. And that distance, it changes you. You start to feel like you're watching life happen from the outside, like you're observing, but no longer included. And the worst part is, you get used to it. That's how deep the separation goes. So ask yourself honestly, if you move into a nursing home, are you prepared for the kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful, but hollow? Regret number 3, letting go of purpose. This one snuck up on me. At first, I thought it would be nice to not have so many responsibilities. No dishes to wash, no errands, no chores. But after a few weeks, the freedom started to feel like emptiness. I didn't have a reason to get up in the morning. No garden to tend, no coffee to make, no mail to check or bills to organize. Even the annoying little routines I used to complain about were suddenly gone, and I missed them. At home, I felt useful. I had tasks, projects, responsibilities. Here, everything is done for you. And while that sounds great on paper, in reality, it means you have less and less to do. You go from being active to being passive. And that transition hits harder than you'd expect. Let's move on to regret number 4. Thinking the nursing home would help me stay healthy when it actually made me weaker faster than I expected. Before I moved in, I could still handle myself. I wasn't running laps, but I could stand at the stove, wash a few dishes, fold my laundry, walk to the mailbox. It was that everyday movement that kept me going. But inside the nursing home, everything's made to be convenient, too convenient. Meals delivered, rooms cleaned, meds handed out. You barely need to stand, let alone move. And at first, it felt like a treat. I thought, wow, I've earned this rest. But rest turns into routine. Routine turns into stillness. And that stillness becomes decline. Muscles I'd maintained for decades started fading fast. My legs felt heavy. Stairs felt steeper. Standing up took effort. And once I needed help getting up, well, that became the new normal. I remember one woman named Clara. She was 80, sharp as a tack, always walking laps around the building, swearing she'd never need a cane. A few months in, she was using a walker, then a wheelchair. She looked at me one day and said, "I feel like I've aged a decade in half a year." And I knew exactly what she meant. Movement isn't just about fitness. It's about survival. When your body stops doing, it starts failing. And in a place where everything's done for you, it's easy to let go without even realizing it. But you pay for it. Not right away, but soon enough. If I could go back, I would have forced myself to stay active. I would have fought harder to move more, even when I didn't feel like it. So if you're thinking about this lifestyle, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to push yourself when everything around you makes it easier to stay still? Because once you stop moving, getting that strength back isn't as simple as just standing up again. Now let's talk about regret number 5, losing privacy and dignity in ways I never expected. At home, I had space, a door to close, a chair by the window where I could sit and think. If I needed a minute to myself, I had it. If I needed to cry, I didn't have to explain. But in a nursing home, privacy is something you trade for supervision, and no one really tells you that part. You've got people coming in and out all day, nurses, aides, housekeepers. They knock, but they don't always wait. You share bathrooms. You share bedrooms. Sometimes with people you've never met. And that alone takes a toll. Even if they're kind, it's not the same as having your own space. It's not yours. Getting dressed, taking a shower, using the toilet, things I did without thinking became group efforts. And while I appreciated the help, I also hated needing it. There's a kind of quiet shame that builds when you have to ask someone to help you do what you used to do in private. It chips away at your confidence, at your identity. One night, I was trying to sleep and my roommate had the TV blasting at full volume. I asked if we could turn it down. She didn't hear me. She had hearing loss. So I waited, wide awake, staring at the ceiling until 2 in the morning. And I realized then, this wasn't just about comfort. It was about ownership. My space was no longer mine. My peace was now shared. My routine had to bend around someone else's. Nobody prepares you for how that feels. Nobody says, by the way, you might not have control over when you can sleep, or bathe, or sit alone. It's not part of the brochure, but it's real, and it hits hard. Because no matter how polite the staff is, no matter how gentle the care, it's still a loss of dignity. You go from being a person who made choices to someone who waits to be told when it's your turn. And here's the tough truth. Once that part of your independence is gone, it doesn't come back easily. You adapt, sure. You make the best of it. But you don't forget what it used to feel like to close a door and know it was yours. Now let's move into regret number 6, which might be the most painful of all. Believing I could always leave if I didn't like it. When I moved in, I told myself it wasn't permanent. I said, I'll try it for a bit, see how it goes. If it doesn't feel right, I'll just leave. But what I didn't realize is how hard it would be to get out once I was in. First, there's the physical side. After months of not cooking, cleaning, or moving much, I wasn't confident I could manage on my own again. I didn't feel as strong. I'd grown used to the help, and that dependence made the idea of going back home feel overwhelming. The fear of falling, the fear of not keeping up, it starts to feel safer to stay. Then there's the emotional side. You start to doubt yourself. You wonder if you're being unrealistic, if you're just clinging to something that's already gone. And your family? They might mean well, but once they see you settled, they're less likely to support a move back. My own kids hesitated when I brought it up. Are you sure? They asked. We thought you were doing okay here. And there's the financial reality. Some people sell their homes, thinking they won't need them again. Or the home gets rented, the money tied up, the logistics too messy to undo. Others lose their spot on wait lists for alternative housing, or their savings go to the monthly fees that keep piling up. It's not just a change of address, it's a full system you enter. And leaving it isn't as simple as packing a bag. I've met people here who've been trying to get out for years. They didn't plan to stay this long. They thought it was temporary. But life has a way of locking doors when you aren't looking. And once enough time passes, it's not just hard to leave. It starts to feel impossible. By now, you've heard the 6 biggest regrets I've had since moving into a nursing home. Some were expected, others hit me out of nowhere. But the hardest truth in all of this is that once you're here, the life you had before starts fading. And it doesn't fade all at once. It disappears in quiet little pieces. Your favorite chair stays back in your old house. Your cooking routine goes with it. Your daily phone calls become weekly, then monthly. And slowly, you forget what it felt like to truly be at home. I used to think home meant 4 walls and a roof, a mailing address, and a place to sleep. But now I understand that home is so much more. It's the smell of your kitchen when your favorite soup is on the stove. It's the sound of your own door creaking open. It's the ability to leave your shoes anywhere without someone asking you to move them. And when you trade that away, when you give it up for safety or convenience, you don't just change your surroundings. You change who you are inside those walls. Let me be clear, there are people who truly need nursing homes. People with medical conditions that require 24-hour care, people who aren't safe living alone, people who don't have the option of staying with family. I get that. I'm not saying these places don't have value. What I am saying is that many of us move in too soon. We move in out of fear, out of guilt, or because we think it's what our family wants. And once we're here, we realize we gave up more than we thought. I wish someone had told me to explore other options first. I wish someone had said, let's look at in-home care, or can we get a part-time nurse, or even, let's adapt your house so you can stay longer. But instead, everything moved fast. I was tired, my kids were stressed, and the brochures made it sound nice. So I signed the papers. I let go of my keys. And in that moment, I gave away a kind of freedom I didn't know I'd miss this much. Now here's what I want you to take away from all this. Not just the regrets, but the lessons behind them. Because even though I can't undo what's been done, maybe you can avoid some of the pain I've gone through. If you're at a point in your life where a nursing home is being discussed, pause for a moment and ask these questions. Do I really need this level of care right now? Have I exhausted every possible alternative? Am I making this decision for me, or because it's easier for someone else? Is there a part of me that's afraid to speak up and say, I'm not ready? Those questions are hard. They force you to slow down and really look at what you want versus what's convenient. But I wish I had asked them. I wish someone had made me ask them. Because here's what I've learned. Life doesn't always give you a second chance. Sometimes the decisions you make in your 70s determine what your 80s will look like. And if you're not careful, you might wake up one day and realize that what was supposed to be a temporary situation has become your new normal. Not because it had to, but because nobody thought to ask, what else is possible? So if you're watching this and you're on the fence, here's my advice. Fight for your independence while you still can. Speak up. Ask for help, but on your terms. Don't be afraid to be a little stubborn. Don't be afraid to make people uncomfortable with your honesty. Because once you give up control, once you stop making decisions for yourself, it's a lot harder to get that power back. And if you're the adult child watching this, maybe considering options for your parent, please don't just go with what's easiest. Ask them what they want. Really ask. Listen, even if it's inconvenient. Even if it means looking into home renovations, or hiring outside help, or rearranging your schedule. Because one day, you'll be in their shoes. And you'll want someone to fight for you too. Sometimes, all it takes is a few extra steps to delay, or completely avoid, a move that doesn't have to happen yet. It might cost a little more time, a little more planning, a little more patience. But it's worth it. Because every extra day someone gets to live life on their own terms, in their own space, is a gift. Now, if you're already living in a nursing home, like I am, and this video hits a little too close to home, please know you're not alone. Regret is a heavy thing, but it's not the end of your story. You can still find small ways to reclaim pieces of yourself. Start a journal. Join a group. Get your body moving, even just a little. Speak up when something bothers you. Ask to be involved in your care plan. you still matter. And even if it feels like no one's listening, you have a voice, and it deserves to be heard. Let me leave you with this. Aging doesn't have to mean surrendering everything that makes you who you are. You don't suddenly become less valuable, less capable, or less deserving of choices just because you turn 75 or 80 or 90. What I regret most about moving into a nursing home isn't just the lack of space, or the routine, or the loneliness. It's that I didn't fight harder to keep hold of my life. I was too quick to hand it over, thinking it was the right thing to do, when deep down, I knew I wasn't ready. And if I could go back, I'd speak up louder. I'd say no to the rushed decisions, no to the assumption that I needed to be here, no to the idea that growing older automatically means giving things up. I would have asked more questions. I would have made my voice heard, even if it made others uncomfortable, because it was my life. It still is. You don't have to go along with what everyone expects. You don't have to shrink your world just because others think it's safer or easier. You get to decide what's worth holding on to. And I'm telling you right now, your independence, your purpose, your privacy, your movement, your dignity, those things are worth fighting for. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. Some people do thrive in senior communities. Others benefit from specialized care. But don't assume it's your only path. There are in-home aides, community support services, adult day programs, safety upgrades for your house, options that let you hold on to control longer than you might think. Don't accept the nursing home as your fate until you've turned over every stone. So here's what I hope you take from all this. Think twice. Ask the hard questions. Make sure the decision comes from a place of truth, not pressure, not guilt, not fear. And remember that this stage of life still belongs to you. It's not something to endure. It's something you still have a right to shape. And if you've already made the move and you're struggling like I did, please don't lose hope. You can still speak up. You can still ask for changes. You can still find ways to reconnect with the person you were before this place. Talk to the staff. Request small freedoms. Reclaim your routines, even in little ways. Find moments of purpose, even if they're small. Because even here, there are things worth fighting for. Thank you for being here with me today. If you made it this far, I truly hope this message has given you something to think about. Whether you're facing this decision yourself, helping a loved one through it, or already living in it, remember this. Your voice matters. Your choices matter. And your life is still yours. If this video spoke to you, leave a comment below and share something that resonated. Something you learned, something you've experienced, or a decision you're working through. I read every word, and your stories help remind others that they're not alone in this. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing to Sage Grains for more honest conversations like this one. We talk about the real stuff. Aging, life transitions, regrets, resilience, and finding meaning, even in the hardest places. Thanks again for watching. Take care of yourself. Take care of your people. And don't forget, you still get to write your own story. We'll see you in the next video.